What is up guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nouman and today's analysis video is going to be about the Champions League game between Chelsea and Real Madrid. So Chelsea as usual lined up in their normal 3-4-3 formation, which was more like 3-5-2 on the ground with the ball. And they also changed their formation to 5-3-2 without the ball. While Real Madrid on the other hand also lined up in a 3-5-2 formation to match Chelsea. But they at times also changed their formation to a back four by moving Marcelo in the midfield. Chelsea started the game really well, and they could have easily scored 2 or 3 goals in the first half, if it wasn't for their bad finishing. Real Madrid decided to implement a man-oriented high press in the first half, which actually turned out to be a very bad idea as Chelsea were able to break their press and get into Real Madrid's defensive third with ease. Luka Modric was often moving up to join the front line, to make a front line of 3 men, to press the 3 Chelsea centre-backs. The Real Madrid wingbacks were trying to press the 2 Chelsea wingbacks with Toni Kroos and Casemiro covering Jorginho and N'Golo Kante. This way Real Madrid tried to create a 1v1 marking all over the ground to stop Chelsea's build-up. Modric moves up to join the front line to help Real Madrid implement a man-oriented high press. Front 3 on the 3 Chelsea centre-backs with Kroos and Casemiro also moving up to keep a tight man marking on the 2 Chelsea midfielders. Mendy's passing options were blocked, so he was forced to go long to lose possession. Since Toni Kroos and Casemiro were almost playing in Chelsea's defensive third to keep a tight man marking on N'Golo Kante and Jorginho, so that created a big gap behind the midfield of Real Madrid for Chelsea to exploit. Timo Werner would often drop in that space to win the first ball and lay it off in the path of Pulisic. And whenever Timo Werner dropped in that space, he often forced one of the Real Madrid centre-backs out of their line to open the gaps for the runs of Christian Pulisic. Toni Kroos and Casemiro move up to keep a tight man marking on N'Golo Kante and Jorginho, and that has opened the gap behind the midfield of Real Madrid for Mendy to pick one of his front 3. Big spaces behind the midfield of Real Madrid as both Toni Kroos and Casemiro moved up to cover N'Golo Kante and Jorginho. Timo Werner and Pulisic drop in that big space. Timo Werner wins the first ball and he lays it off in the path of Christian Pulisic. Werner wins the first ball and lays it off in the path of Pulisic. Christian Pulisic was totally free to run, so Varane had no option but to bring Pulisic down and concede a free kick. Again, front 3 on the 3 Chelsea centre-backs, Casemiro and Toni Kroos have once again moved up to cover Jorginho and N'Golo Kante. And that has once again created the space behind the midfield of Real Madrid for one of the Chelsea's front 3 to drop deep and receive the ball from Mendy. Timo Werner once again drops in the space behind the midfield to receive the ball from Mendy. He wins the aerial duel and heads the ball in the path of Christian Pulisic to attack. The front 3 of Chelsea were creating real issues for the Madrid defense. As soon as Casemiro and Kroos moved up, one of the front 3 would immediately drop in the space to receive the ball, and during that process, they would also force the Madrid centre-backs out of their line to open the gaps for their teammates. Again, Modric moves up to join the front line, with Toni Kroos and Casemiro also moving up to cover N'Golo Kante and Jorginho. This has once again opened a big gap behind the Madrid midfield, and this time Mason Mount drops in the space to receive the ball directly from Rudiger. Mason Mount drops deep, he receives the ball from Rudiger, and that has forced Militao to leave his line to cover Mason Mount, and Chelsea now have a 2v2 position against the 2 Madrid centre-backs. Mason Mount easily moves away from Eder Militao and he plays the ball to Pulisic, who lays it off in the path of N'Golo Kante. N'Golo Kante to Azpilicueta, who plays a first-time cross to Timo Werner. This time, Christian Pulisic drops in between the lines to receive the ball, and as he drops deep, he drags Nacho out of his line. Nacho was taken out by Christian Pulisic. Marcelo was busy covering Azpilicueta, so N'Golo Kante immediately tries to attack that central space. Pulisic to Azpilicueta, Marcelo steps out to cover Azpilicueta, and N'Golo Kante immediately attacks the space that was left open by the centre-back. And it was the movement of the front 3 that actually helped Chelsea to score the first goal of the game. Mason Mount once again drops in between the lines to receive the ball from Rudiger. So Eder Militao leaves his line to cover Mason Mount. Militao steps out to cover Mason Mount, and Varane was focused on tracking the runs of Timo Werner, and that gave Christian Pulisic the chance to make a blindside run and score the goal. Again, Pulisic is forcing Nacho out of his line, and Azpilicueta immediately tries to attack the space. The front three of Chelsea were constantly looking to drag the Real Madrid centre-backs out of their line to open the gaps in the defense for the Chelsea wing-backs. But more often than not, the Chelsea players failed to see the runs of the Chelsea wing-backs, which often left the Chelsea wing-backs very frustrated. Again, the Real Madrid centre-backs are busy watching the front three, and Azpilicueta makes a very well-timed blindside run, but Jorginho never tried to pick the run of Azpilicueta. The Madrid centre-backs have no clue about the position of Azpilicueta, and Azpilicueta is clearly onside, but Jorginho never played the ball to Azpilicueta. See the frustration of Azpilicueta as Jorginho failed to play the pass. Again, this time Timo Werner drops deep to receive the ball from Rudiger, and as he drops deep, he drags Militao out of his line to open the space in the defense. Ben Chilwell immediately tries to attack the space, but he never received the pass from Rudiger or Jorginho. Timo Werner takes out Militao, and Ben Chilwell tries to attack the space, but he never received the ball. Chelsea without the ball mostly had a formation of 5-3-2, with Mason Mount dropping in the midfield. Chelsea's 5-3-2 formation without the ball, with Mason Mount dropping in the midfield alongside N'Golo Kante. Since Chelsea had a 5-3-2 formation, so there were spaces in and around the Chelsea midfield, and Toni Kroos and Casemiro were often able to drag N'Golo Kante and Jorginho wide of the pitch to open the spaces for Marcelo to run into. So Marcelo often moved to the midfield to attack those spaces in and around the Chelsea midfield to try and link with Benzema. But the Chelsea defense did a very good job, and Real Madrid failed to create any clear-cut chances. Real Madrid's goal came out of nothing, and credit to Benzema for that excellent control and finish. Zidane realized that his pressing was getting bypassed with ease, so in the second half, Real Madrid decided to drop off and they sat deep to block those big spaces that Chelsea were getting in between the lines and behind the defense. Real Madrid now settling in a more defensive 6-3-1 formation, and they decided not to press Chelsea in order to block the open spaces that Chelsea were enjoying in the first half. And unlike the fast pace of the first half, the game became very slow in the second half, as both the teams seemed to settle for a draw. Chelsea would feel that they should have won the game, considering the chances that they had. Finishing has been a major issue for Chelsea this season, and it needs to improve if they want to go any further. Chelsea have the away goal advantage, but it can all change very quickly with one Madrid goal. The tie is still up for grab, and anyone can win it. So who do you think will qualify for the final? Comment below and let me know. Thank you so much guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.